Friends, welcome and good afternoon. Before we begin this session, let us stand up for our institute motto, please.
जय शस्तुतेषु जाग्रति जय शस्तुतेषु जाग्रति सर्वे तदुदा
Thank you very much. Please sit down. First of all, we are very thankful to our learned speaker, C.S. Ronak Banka ji, for taking out of his precious time and come over here to teach you something about the GST returns, all about. So we welcome him and please applause with the loud applause. Now I request Mr. Khanjan Abani to briefly introduce him. मेरा नाम बोलो मैं आगे लेना है उनको.
Yeah, first of all, welcome everyone and good afternoon. I would like to thank Ronak sir for being here and take out his time in weekends, and he's here to teach us something valuable. So his experience is in very different areas like media and entertainment, reinsurance, real estate, FMCG. His area of expertise is in indirect tax, advisory, litigation, and compliance, framing business model and processing automation, and implementation and framing of SOP. He has work experience of finance and indirect tax professional with demonstrated history in working in consulting. Having a lead management and risk audit, GST health check resulting in substantial working capital saving and resolving process loopholes and implementation, reconciliation and e-invoicing processes. He has interviewed over 200 entrepreneurs, and based on it, he have written stories about them on Facebook and Instagram page known as the Startup Tales. He has co-poeted a book with Brexit, if I'm not wrong. Brexit, yeah. So thank you so much, sir, for being here. And I request Hemant sir to please felicitate and welcome our speaker. Thank you. Now I would like to request Ronak sir to please start this session. Please, sir.
Very warm good afternoon, everybody. So, Article Shift Service Saturday ko for the session you guys have come. It's a great thing. So, I wanted to know how many of you practice in GST? Like anybody and no one. So, क्या background है? Audit, income tax, stat audit.
Yes.
अच्छा okay, so basically जैसे we have income tax returns, so we of course have GST returns, and to be very precise, GST returns aren't that much of an hassle जितना उसको बनाया गया है. If we go deep dive into it, we'll understand, of course, the intricacies, the correct mapping and everything is required in it, but it is not that much a difficult or a rocket science thing which one cannot do. So in my articleship, I had never done IDT. I had just like I was left with group 2, so I had started off working, and wahan pe I had started with IDT, and since then my love for IDT grew. So yes, so what is a GST return? Like income tax return, GST return is a comprehensive statement containing the details of sales, the taxes against it, and the purchases and the taxes against it. The net off between the two, which we call after setting of the ITC, the taxation part goes off to the government. So, are you aware how many different types of GST returns are there? Like, and you would like to tell anything?
Generally, there are 3 types. So I know the monthly returns, GST are 190, and the annual return, which we have in the coming days, 9C.
So 4 हो गए. So actually, no worries. So there are 14 type of returns. 1, 3B, जैसे GSTR 1, GSTR 3B, 5, 5A, 6, 7, GSTR 8, GSTR 9, GSTR 9C, GSTR 10, GSTR 11, ITC 04, GSTR 04 and CMP 08. So लगता बहुत सारे हैं, but जनरल टैक्स पेयर्स जो रेगुलर टैक्स पेयर्स हैं उन लोगों को इतने सारे एप्लीकेबल नहीं होते. जो एप्लीकेबल मेजरली होते हैं, जैसे इन्होंने बोला GSTR 1 3B, अगर क्वार्टरली है तो भी 1 3B होएगा, एंड 9 9C, बट 9 9C के लिए भी देयर इज अ स्पेसिफिक टर्नओवर लिमिट. आफ्टर वी क्रॉस दैट टर्नओवर लिमिट तब GSTR 9 एप्लीकेबल होगा, और 9C के लिए और एक टर्नओवर लिमिट है. So we'll start off with GSTR 1. So in GSTR 1, the first thing is outward supply. GSTR 1 में we fill the details of outward supply of taxable goods and services, like how much is the sale transactions, how much is the taxes against it, any export transactions, any like deemed export, sale to SEZ units, and then like HUF and various other units we have to fill in over here. So I have given a snapshot of it over here. Like I'll of course explain this in the further slides as well also. So there are on the first part of it, there are almost 11 tables, and on the second part of it there are almost 8 tables. For all these 11 and 8 tables, that is 19 tables, the functionality is different. हर जगह हम लोग को कुछ और रिपोर्ट करना होता है, and मतलब it's not compulsory कि each and every table gets filled. There are, according to the taxpayer, according to the business, the tables are getting filled. So if we see GSTR 1, the first table 4A, 4B, 4C, 6B, 6C, which is this table 4A, 4B, 4C, 6C. So जो टेबल का डेफिनेशन है, जो टेबल का नाम है, वो एक ही टेबल है, बट गवर्नमेंट ने उसको 4A, 4B, 4C अकॉर्डिंग टू 4A इज द आउटवर्ड सप्लाई, और उसके अकॉर्डिंग गवर्नमेंट ने स्पेसिफाई किया. So table 4A, 4B, 4C, 6B, 6C, we have to enter details of all B2B, business to business supplies, SEZ supplies, deemed export, and we have to report it in a transaction wise. Transaction wise, I mean to say कि suppose I sell to him. So जो invoice number है, his GSTN number, if he is a business to me, and Ronak and company and Green and company. So it's a business to me. So I would, I'm selling it to him. So I will give him an invoice against it. So here in GSTR 1, table 4, I have to enter each and every detail. The invoice number, the GSTN number, the taxable value, and the taxes against it, including the HSN and the like whether it's a regular taxpayer or not. Also in this, now as we are moving towards more digitization, and so the government has specified, suppose I am dealing with him on a regular basis, so there is an option of add to master. जैसा अगर हम देखते हैं अगर टैली या उसमें होता है कि हम एक अलग से लेजर क्रिएट कर देते हैं, तो इसमें लेजर क्रिएट नहीं है ऑफ कोर्स, बट इसमें ऐसे ऐड to master. So I'll add him into that master. I'll add his GSTN number. I'll add his name and stuff. So whenever I'll write his GSTN number, his name would get auto populated over there. So मेरा वो काम काफी हद तक निकल जाता है. इसमें एक और चीज है जो मैंने आगे के स्लाइड्स में मेंशन किया है, ई इनवॉइसिंग. सो अगर आप लोग को आइडिया होगा, ई इनवॉइसिंग जो गवर्नमेंट ने निकाला है, सो ई इनवॉइसिंग इज एप्लीकेबल currently for turnover of companies more than 5 crores. तो जिनका भी turnover 5 crore से ज्यादा है in any of the preceding years from 17-18 till now, उनको e-invoicing applicable है. So in this also, if we are generating an e-invoice, so e-invoice can be generated through Tally, or if they are big companies, so they use SAP. So SAP में भी there is a functionality of generating e-invoice, and there are various, मतलब government has provided its tool templates जिससे आप e-invoice generate कर सकते हो. So अगर हम e-invoice भी generate करते हैं, suppose my turnover is more than 5 crores, my turnover is around 7 to 8 crores, I am generating an e-invoice against him. So वो auto populate हो जाएगा मेरे GSTR 1 में. So I don't have to enter any details. Basically जो मैं invoice number और GSTN number, taxable value, taxes जो मैं डाल रहा था manually, अगर मैंने e-invoice generate किया है तो ये auto populate हो जाएगा GSTR 1 में. So in table 4A, so my somewhat of the process gets automated so that I don't have to waste my critical time, to see ki, to manually punch each and every detail. So in table 4A, we enter all the details of B2B, SEZ, and deemed export on a transaction wise. In table 5A, we enter details of B2C large invoices. So what is B2C large? B2C large is basically if my transaction value is more than 2.5 lakhs. Also, I am supplying interstate. That becomes B2CL large. Suppose I am in Maharashtra, he is in Maharashtra. Now I am supplying him of more than like 3 lakhs I am supplying him the good. It would be B2C small. Why? Because it is not interstate. It is an intrastate. So whenever it is B2CL, which is interstate, and 2.5 lakhs से ज़्यादा का हो रहा है, so it comes under B2CL invoices, and I have to enter that as well on a transaction wise level. Ki I have to enter the invoice number, taxable value, and the taxes against it. Table 6A details of all export invoices on an invoice level wise. Also export invoices, I have to end now. If you see on the first slide, I have written deemed export, and here I have written export. So the government has given a bifurcation of the deemed export and export. So deemed export, like if I'm supplying to any एक्सपोर्ट प्रमोशन काउंसिल EPCG जो बोलते हैं वहां पे, या if I'm supplying against advanced authorization. So you will understand advanced authorization, when you go further into your IDT. So if you are supplying against that advanced authorization or so, that comes under deemed export. So deemed export, sorry. Oh, yeah. So deemed export is basically supply against TPCG and so. So deemed export we have to enter in the first table, which is table 4A, 4B, 4C. And the export we have to enter in table 6A, export invoices. So these export invoices also have to be reported on a transaction wise level. Each and every transaction, like the invoice number, the taxable value, taxes against it. And in export also, there can be a possibility that there is no taxes. Export without payment of tax. So without payment of tax happens when we are supplying under an LUT, letter of undertaking. So that letter of undertaking we have to submit it to the government before 31st of March for the next financial year. So जैसे 31st March 2023 को I have to, before that I have to submit for 1st April 2023 to 31st March 2024, that is financial year 23-24. उसके लिए I have to submit the LUT form to the government. If I submit the LUT form to the government, then I don't have to pay taxes on my export transactions. So in table 6A, we have to enter the export transactions. Now comes table 7, which is B2C others. B2C others is basically B2C small. Like in the previous example, when I had told him ki, it is more than 2.5 lakhs, but it is an intrastate and hence it comes under B2C small. So I have to enter our details in here, but there is a catch in it. The catch in it is basically I don't have to report invoice level wise. I have to report it on a place of supply wise. The reason being I have to report it on a place of supply wise because if you see large companies, like I have a client which is a very big media and entertainment company. So for that company, they are into, various these subscriptions. So, we all purchase those subscriptions. So maintaining each and every person ka detail becomes a quite a difficult task, and entering that into the GST portal. And GST portal also does not have that much of bandwidth, it will like for like lakhs of people, it will have that much details it can store. So for B2C small, B2C others, we mention it on the place of supply wise. Also because we mention it place because there is no concept of ITC against it, because the other party cannot avail the ITC. So there is no need, to maintain it on a transaction level wise. Basically, transaction level wise we maintain because we need it for the ITC part. Here there is no concept of ITC in this case, and hence it is on a place of supply wise. Suppose I am supplying him to him, her, and him. All the three I am supplying. So all the three are from Maharashtra. So Maharashtra, I am supplying services or goods up to rupees 5 lakhs. So place of supply Maharashtra 5 lakhs. To this branch, I am supply. This branch belongs to Rajasthan, suppose. So for Rajasthan, place of supply Rajasthan and 6 lakhs, 7 lakhs. I don't have to report on a transaction wise level because there is no ITC lena kisi ko hai nahi. That is the reason. The next part is table 8A, 8B, 8C, 8D, which is nil rated supplies. So what is this nil rated supplies? Nil rated supplies are those, जिसको government ने exempt किया है, like agricultural products like cereals and food pulses are exempt, so they come under the nil rated supply. So these we have to report it on a consolidated basis. And in this also, just a minute. Yeah. So in this also reporting nil rated and exempt transaction on a summary level to registered and unregistered. So for each which is registered and unregistered, accordingly we have interstate supply to registered person, intrastate supply to registered person, interstate supply to unregistered person, intrastate supply to unregistered person. So accordingly we have to enter the details. Also we have to enter non-GST outward supplies also. So there are specific columns made on the GST portal where we can enter these details. The next is table 9B, which is reporting credit debit notes registered and unregistered. So those unregistered have to be reported like B2C invoices. So what is this registered and unregistered? Registered basically those who have a GST, and unregistered those who do not have a GST. So unregistered parties we have to report it like B2C B2C small, which is on a place of supply basis. For registered each and every transaction level wise, suppose I'm supplying into him, he is giving me a credit note, so that credit note has to be reported on a transaction level wise, the GST and the credit note number, the taxable value and stuff. The next thing is table 11A 1 2, reporting advance received again on place or supply wise comes summary level. So, in businesses, there are various transactions which are happening on, on a advance level कि आप advance दे दो. तो जब advance देते हैं, तब we issue receipt voucher. So वो receipt voucher का detail we have to enter over here. But we don't have to enter each and every details. Here also we have to enter on a place of supply basis, because on that basis of advance, because see we can claim ITC only when there is an invoice. Receipt voucher is not an invoice, so there is no concept of we can avail ITC or we cannot avail ITC. And that's the reason we report it on a place of supply base level and on a summary level. Key for Maharashtra I have received this much advance, for Gujarat I have received this much advance. The next table is table 11B1, 11B2, advance received earlier which are adjusted against an invoice. So basically, suppose I'm the advance which I have received, now I am giving him an invoice. He's giving me an invoice. So accordingly, that advance gets adjusted. Now I can claim the ITC. So in this table, we'll have to report each and every advance which are getting adjusted. So the system which the government has devised it. Suppose if in the month of September we say I received an advance of 5 lakhs and I report it on my GST portal as 5 lakhs. In the coming month, against that 5 lakhs, my 2 lakhs I am adjusting because I have received an invoice for it. So when I enter on this table, that is table 11B1, 11B2, advance received earlier. So when I enter the detail, I have to enter when I have received the advance. So I enter in September. So automatically 5 lakh amount, and of course the place of supply also. So when I enter the month, also when I enter the place of supply, the state name, the advance figure gets auto-populated, which I had reported earlier. And now if I'm adjusting 2 lakh against it, now I'll mention his invoice number, date, GSTN and taxable value taxes. So that 2 lakhs gets adjusted. Suppose in the next month, if we talk about in the month of November when we come, in the month of November, I received 1 lakh. So on the advanced adjusted tab, I'll mention place of supply as Maharashtra, advance received in September. So the net amount 5 lakh minus the 2 lakh, 2 lakh which was in the month of October. So that 3 lakh gets auto populated over there, and accordingly I'll adjust 2 lakh over here. So this is the system which the government has devised, and like it is correct. Sometimes the GST portal becomes down, but sometimes the GST portal gets down, but it is not the usual case ki the GST portal is down or so. Good one. So yeah, the next table we have to report is table 12 HSN summary level. I'll continue. No. Okay. Yeah. So in table 12, we have to report on an HSN level, the HSN summary. In HSN summary, like in B2B transactions, where I have reported the HSN and various other tables like table 4A, 4B, table 5A, B2CL large, table 6A, export invoices, where I have reported on a transaction level wise basis. There I have to mention an HSN in an invoice. So here in table 12, I have to mention each and every HSN. So as a company, Ronak and company is providing 2-3 kind of services to people which have different HSN summary, HSN numbers. So accordingly, I have to report this HSN against this HSN on a consolidated basis. I have supplied 5 lakh rupees and the taxes against those 5 lakhs. Also, the taxable value and the taxes against it and the rate. The HSN summary is devised such a way that here we enter the taxable value, here we enter the rate, the taxes against it. So there can be, export transactions where there are 0% rate of tax. There can be some B2B transactions for the same HSN where there can be 18% of tax. So 5 lakh, 0% tax, IGST, CGST, SGST, 0. 6 lakh, 18% of tax, the same HSN. IGST 5 lakh, CGST, SGST, and IGST. So basically, the tax amount and the taxes should exactly match. If there is a slightest difference of any points or also, the government portal throws an error and it won't let you to save that GST return. So you have to mention each and every exact detail, the figures against it. The next thing is table 13, document summary. The invoice number beginning from this month and ending this month, even self invoices under RCM have to be reported. So invoice number. So whenever under the GST law, there is a rule key from the start of the financial year, that is 1st April, you have to start a new invoice level series. So when we start a new invoice level series, that has to be reported on the GST portal GSTR1. I am supplying to these many people. I have supplied 10 invoices. So I start my invoice number from RA01. In April, I have supplied 10 I have supplied goods against which I have given 10 invoices. So RA01 to RA10. Then 10 invoices. Cancelled invoice. I have to mention that cancelled invoice number as well and the net amount. So out of these 10 invoices, suppose I have cancelled one of the invoice. So total invoice generated 10, cancelled invoice 1, and the net gets of course auto populated, which is 9. So against each and every, suppose my invoice level series RA is for this one. In the month of April only, another invoice level series, I'm supplying it to this batch, which is RB. So each and every invoice level series have to be reported over here. RA01 to RA10, then RB01 to RB010. And of course, अब यहाँ पे मैंने 10 तक किया in the month of April. So when I go in the month of May, I have to start from 11. If various companies में होता है कि there are various other invoices also. So the accountants over there, they start from 12, 13 because 11, 12 कोई और के against book हो चुका है. but that does not come under GST purview. Like B2C is small ho gaya suppose. So you should have a specific justification कि वो दो invoice कहाँ गए. नहीं तो there can be notices from the government. And like of just 2-3 weeks back, there was a news ki ICAI had also sent a notice to the department, because the department is sending quite more notices to the taxpayers on an unwarranted basis. So some are of course unwarranted, some are genuine as well also. So you have to submit each and every detail, correct detail you have to mention. Suppose I skip RA11, RA12. I should have an answer that why I have skipped RA11 and RA12. Firstly, I shouldn't have. If I have, I should have an answer for it. Also, I have written even self invoices under RCM have to be reported. So what is this self invoices? Whenever we have outward supply, whenever we supply goods to someone, we provide him an invoice. What is a self invoice? Self invoice is under RCM transactions. Whenever we receive something, if it comes under the purview of an RCM transaction, reverse charge basis. So we have to generate self invoice as well also for it. And self invoices only in case of an unregistered or whether the other party, like generally there are good transport agencies which are under an RCM basis. So some are registered, so they give us an invoice. Some are not registered, or lawyers who are registered, or some are not registered. So for those unregistered who do not give an invoice, we have to self-generate an invoice. So this invoice is with the company only. They don't give it to the other party. So here we have to report it on a, like we have to report this as well also. Also we have to, just a moment. Also, we have to report delivery challans. Basically, what is delivery challans? Delivery challans is I'm supplying the goods, but I'm not supplying an invoice against it. Delivery challan is during the transportation of goods or during job work transactions. In job work transactions, what are job work transactions? I have a company, I have a manufacturing unit, and I have outsourced, I have job worked to some other job workers, some of the units to produce. So I am not giving them an invoice, but I am supplying my material to them. As I'm supplying my material to them, I have to issue a delivery challan. So that delivery challan has to be reported over here in the document series level wise. The next detail is amended record details. In this, each type of transactions, except for B2CS, can be amended. Even a transaction which was reported in a previous month as B2B while filing this month, but we realized that it would be B2C as the GST may be cancelled or suspended or any other reasons. Basically, amended invoice. Suppose today I supply a B2C invoice or B2B invoice to him. In the month of October, I supply a B2B invoice. And now later I realized that he does not have a GST or his GST is suspended or cancelled way back, but the vendor has not informed me. So it is incorrect of my part to supply him a B2B invoice. So the government has given a facility, we can amend that invoice as well also. So we can amend B2B invoices, B2CL invoices. We can amend credit notes, debit notes also. So for this amendment process, I'll explain, like suppose today I have supplied him B2B ka invoice in the month of October. Now in the month, I've supplied him for around 5 lakhs or any amount. Now in the month of November, I realized he does not have a GST or his GST is suspended or cancelled. So I have to supply him B2CS invoice. Now how to amend that invoice? When I go in B2B amendment section, I enter that invoice details. the original invoice details get auto-populated over here there. And now I have to write the revised invoice details. Now against revised invoice details, I'll of course not write his GST because it's not there. So I'll just mention the taxable value and the taxes against it. So that accordingly that I amend an invoice. So the previous invoice which I had generated in the month of October, that becomes nullified against the invoice which I have generated in the November. Basically, I amended that invoice. You can also amend the GSTN because maybe there are some, some transactions where we have mentioned an incorrect GSTN. So the other party, messages us or emails it to us ki we are not receiving a credit. So maybe it is when we look into it, we understand, it is an incorrect GST. So when that case arises, we can also amend that GST. But there's a specific timeline to it which we can amend it. So for financial year 22-23, we can amend till 30th of November 2024. Till next year we can amend. After that we cannot amend. Also in that, as our GSTR 3B due date is of 20th of November for the month of October, so ideally we can amend it till 20th of November. जो 20th of November to 30th November के बीच का होता है, अगर उसमें हम अपना GSTR 3B फाइल करते हैं, so that becomes मतलब late return and you have to pay late fees and all. So government has earlier it was 30th of September. Now it has been changed as 30th of November. Last year in the month of October 2022, the government had given a circular. So from that circular, it has got changed. Also in the budget 2022, it was proposed. And after that proposal, the GST department gives a official circular or notification regarding that proposal. So that proposal came in the month of October, and from there it got amended. So points to keep in mind while filing GSTR 1. Precise entry of recipient invoice details in GSTR 1 is vital. Accuracy of invoice level information matters. Mistakes in it can lead to denial of input tax credit to the vendor and also for the supplier, as there can be difference between GSTR 1 and 3B, and it can it can impact reconciliation and can cause further penalties. So precise entry of recipient invoice details is vital. Basically, as I mentioned in table 4, table 5, you have to enter B2B, B2C and invoice level wise details.
Request you all to mute your speaker, please.
Yeah. So where we have to, enter invoice level wise details, those have to be entered correctly. Because see, the government has given us the facility to amend those invoices, but why take a chance, to amend it every now and then? So it is quite an essential thing that we have a precise entry of, recipient invoice detail, so that further it may not cause an impact. The next thing is, once filed, it cannot be revised. It can only be amended in subsequent months, and hence it is very essential to fill in all the details properly. So basically, when we file income tax returns, that can be revised. Even belated income tax returns can be revised. But in GST returns, all the GST returns, the 14 GST returns which I mentioned earlier, those 14 GST returns cannot be revised. they can be amended in subsequent months, but they cannot be revised. So it is quite important, to enter the details correctly so that आगे चल के there is no problem. Zero rated and nil rated supplies have different GST treatments. Zero rated supplies are export transactions which are taxable. Basically, zero rated supplies are export transactions. As I mentioned earlier, for export transactions, if we file an LUT, there, if you don't file an LUT, you have to pay taxes. But if we file an LUT, there is no need to pay taxes on it. So one can argue कि zero rated and nil rated, zero और nil, उसमें difference क्या है? तो zero rated transactions are export related transactions. Nil rated transactions are government has exempted those transactions. So export transactions में भी tax लगता है. बट LUT के परस्पेक्टिव से अगर LUT फाइल कर दिया तो टैक्स नहीं लगेगा, नहीं तो उस पे भी लगेगा. सो ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ जीरो रेटेड एंड nil rated is completely different. So zero rated we have to mention it in table 5 जैसे मैंने पहले दिखाया था. जीरो रेटेड हमें यहाँ पे मेंशन करना होता है टेबल 6A, एंड nil rated you have to mention in table 8A, 8B, 8C. So for zero rated export invoices, we have to mention invoice level, and for nil rated, because उसमें कुछ ITC का implication नहीं है, tax का implication नहीं है, so for that we have to mention it on a consolidated level wise. Also in export transactions, we can claim refund. Refund of what? Refund of ITC. Suppose I have a company which is into exports only. So I don't pay any outward tax to the government because I have filed an LUT. But to operate a company, I need an office space, I need laptops, and I need various capital goods and so जो मैं खरीदता हूँ सामने वाले को I pay tax, so that ITC which I am paying, I can get refund of that also. So that if we enter the export transactions and nil rated transaction ka details correctly, it may not cause any problem further. In the document summary, it is important to mention self-invoice details in case of RCM or delivery challans. So document summary में जो RCM का self-invoice and the delivery challans, it is quite an essential thing. See, if we don't mention, now it does not have a problem. But जब audit खुलता है, जब when department notices भेजता है, तब department can question कि why you have not mentioned the self invoice details. Now there are various departmental audits going on. So in departmental audits, the department sends the list of things which they want from the taxpayer. They ask supplier invoice details, they ask purchaser invoice level details, sample copies of transactions, sample copies of books mein ledgers ka, and self invoice. They ask various transactions, even nature of business, and they make sign the company various undertakings as well also. So there are various companies which I have dealt with. So in those companies, we generally used to not make self invoice. But after they received a departmental audit notice, and then वो जितने भी उनके आरसीएम के इनवॉइसेस थे वो साल के, सबका वर्ड में बैठ के इनवॉइस बनाया. सो आगे का काम इतना जो कम्बरसम हो जाता है, इसलिए इट इज क्वाइट एन एसेंशियल थिंग कि हम लोग यहाँ पर ही उनका इनवॉइस लेवल वाइज डिटेल्स एंटर कर दे. So this was about GSTR 1. We'll move on to GSTR 3B. So sir, yeah. So you can.
So we are breaking now.
Yes. So any questions for GSTR 1 till sir tells?
Friends, we have with us CA Deepak Mundra. He has taken a unique initiative. I'll let you know about this. Before that, he is also a chartered accountant by profession. He has served various industries like Edelweiss, Jain Irrigation, Aditya Birla at senior level. He has come with an unique idea, save the trees. You know, we use the visiting card for giving someone. So you might have heard on CNBC, Mr. Nilesh Shah, he was saying, na card lunga, na card dunga. On Mr. Nilesh Shah, he's a CEO of that Kotak Mutual Fund. So he has come with that on CNBC. So that initiative is of Deepak's initiative. So he will brief us about this initiative. And apart this, he is very good chef also. Being a chartered accountant, he is a very good chef. He every now and then, I think it's now coming less, but earlier every week he used to give a diet or a recipe for a diet food. He always, I think many of members are members of that WhatsApp group. So I'll request Deepak to share his views on Save Trees initiative. Before that, I'll request CA Ajit Bagade sir to present a memento on behalf of the study circle. CA Ajit Bagade sir. Arsad, no? Now I'll request Deepak to share his views.
So thank you, Omar, for the nice introduction. One thing which he hasn't told is we are childhood friends. Way I introduce myself is Chef CA Deepak Mundra. The reason is I am CA by qualification, by profession, and I'm chef by my passion. So I put my passion before my qualification. You are all students, right? So actually, I have learned today now that GST doesn't stand for Gabbar Singh tax. Until now, I was on the impression that GST means Gabbar Singh tax. Thanks, Ronak, for correcting my impression. Just to make the environment little light. Everyone was very serious. So, and I think I have one more suggestion. We should keep the camera on here. Because when Navnath was taking pic, I saw a smile on many faces. Till that time, everyone was very serious. Okay, couple of things before I talk about my initiative. My journey briefly, Amar has already, briefed, explained. I started my career way back in 1995 with Aditya Birla Group. I spent 13 years with them, and I started my career in taxation. So that was not the area which I actually liked at all. But somehow the opportunity was with Birla Group, and only option was taxation. That point of time, I opted for it. Eventually, I moved into hardcore finance, which was like fundraising, treasury, investment, and all that. This is something which is close to my heart. So 13 years with Aditya Birla Group, then 2 years with Raymond Limited, then 3 years with Jan Irrigation. I'm sure you have heard these names. After that, almost 11 years with Edelweiss Group. And presently, I'm working with JSW Steel. So this is my career journey. Few things I would like to ask you, rather would like to make it more interactive. You are all, as of now, you are all a student, right? How do you organize your things?
I take note of it.
By taking note of it. Perfect. Where do you take the note?
Like notepad.
Okay. Any other answer? Phone. Okay. So basically, you are also saying writing on digital way, and he is writing digital on traditional way, right? Do you get it? Do you get to refer it when you really want to refer it? So I think, the issue remains, if something is contemporary, you require it now, you written it down, you can refer it back. But if after a week, if you have to refer it, how do you refer it? So my point is, we can shift to digital mode now. You can make your own WhatsApp group with yourself, note it down, things there, and organize yourself there. Historically, what I have been doing is I have been keeping a hard paper like this. And this is something which I got printed some 5 years back. Okay. And I've been doing it for more than now 2.5 decades. So I always keep something which, all important things I note down here and it remains in my pocket. So organizing is very important. You all at this stage, if you can start organizing things. And I have worked with more than, 100 team members in last 20 years. The biggest flaw which I have noted among professionals is they are not so organized. So one tip from my side to all of you, develop the habit. And it is a habit. It is not a one-time thing. You need to develop this as a habit. Then only all point of time you will be able to follow this. So that was one thing I wanted to share with you. Second is, to be a successful professional, whatever field you choose to be in, what is the most important thing? Or what are the, say, 3 important things? Then we'll come to the most important aspect. This question is open to all. And I think we have 15 people online also, right?
Consistency, time management,
Punctuality.
confidence, interested in it.
Okay.
Persistent.
Okay.
Dedication.
Dedication. Okay.
Never give up attitude.
Sorry.
Never give up attitude.
Okay. Positive attitude. Very good.
Pass the examination.
Not necessary. You will see many people, Dhirubhai Ambani was not a qualified person. So, but I agree at this point of time for you, your focus has to be on that. So, agree. Okay. So I started off with point number 1, right, which is being organized. So that remains your first most important aspect. To be successful, you have to be organized. You need to know your inventory of work which you are doing, which you have done, which you are doing currently, and which you have to do in, say, next few days. So that inventory management of work in hand or to be done is called organizing. That is the most important aspect. Second is positive attitude. You have to carry positivity to deliver things in the right way. Now the third is networking. No one said that. To be successful in your career or in your life journey, the most important aspect, I would put this third one as on top of all other aspects, is networking. That is the most important aspect. Do you agree? What do you mean by networking? My next simple question.
Connecting with people.
Who said that? Connecting with people? Okay, good. I want to hear beyond that. Please make some attempt. Think. My question is, What is networking?
Connecting with people and promoting ourselves among them.
Okay, good.
Getting our, big gun button, getting our needs.
You are risky character, huh? I will not connect with you if you are giving me work. I am not connecting with you. Okay. So the first step in networking is, as she mentioned, is connecting with people, right? But networking is not only about connecting with people. It is about connecting and maintaining that connect. That is most important. You might say, all might be meeting here for the first time. You are connecting with each other. Will you be able to maintain that connect after some time? So how do you do that? How do you connect is whenever you meet somebody, you exchange cards, you meet people, you connect with them. How do you maintain the connect?
Regularly keeping in touch with them. Like through WhatsApp or plus
Perfect. So when you say regularly stay in touch, how do you stay in touch? Morning, good morning message. Raat ko good night message.
Exchange information.
Hmm. Like,
If he is working in a different department, I am working in a
so KT, knowledge transfer, knowledge sharing. Very good. What else? So you need to figure out the other person's interest area. And if you have a common interest area, that is the easiest way to stay connected. If you share GST with me, तो मेरे लिए तो गब्बर सिंह taxi है. So, you need to figure out what the other person has, interest into. So that is one thing. Second is special dates of their life. As of now, all of you are bachelors, right? But at some point of time, you will get married. I presume that. Birthdays, you can remember. किसी का first job है, joining date, you can remember, you can wish them. So these are the way you can stay connected. So networking is all about connecting with people, finding out common areas of interest. That also help you to stay connected. And third is remembering them on their special dates. And I am sure ऐसा birthday wish करोगे तो party तो लोगे ही. चलो now coming to this Save Tree initiatives. How many of you are using visiting card? I'm sure no one as of now, right? How do you exchange information about, if I ask your name and phone number, how will you give me that?
Traditional way.
मतलब बोल के अच्छा लिख लो करके ऐसा.
Or through text message or.
हाँ, but उसके लिए you need to have my number, right? So that is the traditional way, right? Now in professional world, how do we exchange information? We give card and we take card, right? So every meeting, at least if with one person, so 2 cards are gone, right? Cards कहाँ से आते हैं? Paper कहाँ से आता है? So you got it, right? So if we can stop using visiting cards, we are eventually ending up saving trees. So this initiative is all about saving trees. We have made one application which is called Save Tree VC. So VC stands for visiting card. Save Tree is like, instead of calling it digital, because when you say digital visiting card, it doesn't ring the bell. You never think of saving trees. But when you say Save Tree VC, it rings the bell. Okay, we are talking about environment, right? So I have jotted on few points which I would be sharing with you with respect to Save Tree initiative. So the structure is, we have thought partners. We are 33 thought partners. And we are having few mentors. Mentors are like senior members. They handhold us and tell us what exactly needs to be done. and what is the way forward. We have got 4 iconic names. They are coming and standing with us as mentors for this cause. Now, how many of you know them? I'm not very sure, but Nilesh Shah, have you heard the name? How many of you heard the name? अभी मैंने बोला नहीं उसके पहले. Okay. So Nilesh Shah is MD and CEO of Kotak AMC. Good evening. Yeah. So Anil Singhvi, Z Business, how many of you know about him or have heard of him? Okay. Majority of you. He is also standing with us on this, cause as a mentor. Navneet Munot, only one person knows. Okay. But, let me tell you, he is the CEO and MD of the most profitable mutual fund in the country, SDFC Mutual Fund. And Salesh Loda. Naam sun ke haise sir. Okay, so he is a poet, actor, and comedian, and he is more popularly known as Tarak Mehta in Tarak Mehta Ulta Chashma. So there is a gravity in the subject, in the cause. That is the reason these iconic names could come and stand with us. We are 33 thought partners. I am one of them. Now, few of the names you are able to see it on the screen. So Sanjeev Maheshwari ji, who is like a founder member of JB Nagar Study Circle, he is also part of this thought group. Then Paresh Ganatra, how many of you know? If you can see this face. Are you able to see this or no? So he is again a comedian from Bollywood, celebrity. You guys were very young when No Entry movie came. Yes. You are agreeing with me, you were very young, right? Okay, so you haven't seen the movie. You've seen the movie, still you have seen the movie. उसमें एक विपाशा बासु का एक boyfriend होता था. He is that character. And खिचड़ी जो भी टीवी में सब टीवी में वगैरह आता है, so he has been playing a role there also. So on and off he is visible in movies and regularly on TV he is visible. Then we have ENY partner Shravan Jalan, also part of this initiative. We have MD of JM Financial Services, also part of this initiative. We have MD of Fitch, ex-MD of Fitch rating agency. He is also part of this thought partner group. Ex-MD of Care rating agency, Dogra Saab. He is also part of this thought partner group. So many good people have come together and working on this initiative. Again, because there is gravity in the cause, the people are also helping, coming and standing with us. Now, as Amar mentioned, we enable if you use this mobile app, we enable you say, na to main card lunga, na main card lene dunga. So now, before we go further, if you can all remove your mobile and check if there is network. Mobile का नाम सुन के सबके चेहरे पे कुछ है. Don't check your WhatsApp, please, हाँ. So हाँ, इसके लिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ. नेटवर्क तो देखेंगे कैसे? Right. So network is there? Yes. Okay, now we'll ask you what is to be done. Just showing one small 1 minute ka clip.
Our market master of the day is Nilesh Shah, Managing Director at Kotak Mahindra Asset Management Company. Nilesh, good morning. Great to have you with us here on the program. Thanks very much for your time. Nilesh, a viewer / I'm assuming a Kotak unit holder messaged me saying that Kotak has introduced something called a new initiative, a digital card yesterday. You wanted to know more about it. I mean, briefly, could you explain?
So it's not Kotak Mutual Fund initiative, it's the initiative of professionals in the industry. Deepak Mundra has been leading it, but myself, Navneet Munot, Anil Singhvi and Sailesh Lodha have come together as a mentor. Essentially, we are trying to protect environment in a very, very small way. We are replacing business cards with a digital card. There is an app called Save Tree VC available on Apple and Android. Anyone can download it for free. It will take care of your business cards. Na card lenge, na card lene denge.
That's wonderful. And congratulations for that initiative. I'll try that out. And so will all of us here at CNBC TV 18. Thank you very much,
Thank you
Nilesh,
so
for that. Appreciate it.
So we launched this mobile app on 8th of October, and incidentally, Nilesh Bhai had to go for some interview on 9th of October. So, and the question was asked and he replied. Now there is one more clip of 1 minute.
Bye. I'm going for my business trip to Delhi. Your wallet. Mobile hai na. Your web checking prints. Mobile hai na. Your visiting cards. अरे mobile है ना. Huh?
क्या हुआ आप भी चौंक गए आवर मोबाइल ऐप सेव ट्रीज वीसी enables you to stop using paper visiting cards completely ना तो पेपर विजिटिंग कार्ड देने का ना ही पेपर विजिटिंग कार्ड लेने का सेव ट्रीज वीसी available on Android as well as Apple.
So this girl who has played this character is daughter of one of our third part, and it has been shooted through a normal mobile. And it came from, this is her idea. She is 8-year-old. She suggested to her father, let's make a video and promote it. I'm saying kids are also attached with the idea. Okay, now you can remove your mobile again. If you are having Android, you can try to, scan the QR code. Or even if you have the Apple phone, you can try to scan the QR code from here. Are you getting the app? So just install the app. The registration will take less than a minute. Quick registration will take less than a minute. So while you are doing that, I would also like to ask you, are you liking the idea? And if at this age and this stage of your life, you are able to connect with the idea of digital card, I think that would help you organize your data and also maintain your networking with people. So this app has got two features. One is the digital card. Okay. Second is it also has a card holder. When you meet somebody, you take a card. Where do you keep the card? Generally, you keep it in wallet. But अगर वो 200 कार्ड हो गए तो कहाँ रखोगे ऐसे? फिर आपको ऐसा पहाड़ के जैसा बैठना पड़ेगा ऐसे. So it will not be wallet then you will keep it in a folder or holder, card holder, right? So we have created a card holder in the app where all cards which you take, उसका फोटो लेने का है, स्कैन करने का है, वो कॉन्टैक्ट बन के फोन में सेव हो जाएगा, बट उसका पिक जो है कार्ड होल्डर में जाके बैठ जाए. So how many of you are able to download it? Okay, now have you got the OTP? And so you will get the OTP on WhatsApp. So from a starting point in the app, we are connecting with the user on WhatsApp only. So you can retrieve your OTP and also, log in. So if you do log in, then I will tell you the next step. Anyone getting any problem in downloading the app? Ronak, you can also get them. There is no GST on it. So once you do the login, the only thing which is mandatory for user is the name. So you need to put your name and then you save it. There is second profile whereby you can put all your social media profiles. And then you can save it and your QR code is ready. Once your QR code is ready and when you want to exchange the card with anybody, there is one very good flexibility option is given. Like you have put all your social media profiles in the QR code. LinkedIn, Facebook, Insta, और भी कुछ है नाम नहीं ले रहा हूं मैं, but suppose you have put all of that, and but you don't want to share it with someone. So when you give the QR code to somebody, before that you can see what is the first box below QR code. If one can be loud.
Select fields to be shared with QR.
Right. So if you click here, it will now open all the fields with you, and then there is a tick mark option in front of the field. You can choose what all you want to share with the other person. So if you don't want to share any of your social media profiles, you can untake it. If you don't want to share your date of birth, you can untake it. If you want to share on a LinkedIn profile, you can tick on it. So whatever you want to share, and this you can do every time within a fraction of say 15 seconds. You click on this box, select what all you want to give, and then save it, and your QR code will share only those much detail what you have opted for. So this is clear to you? Yes. Now you can see there is a second box under QR code. What is that? So if suppose you are in front of the person, you can show him the QR code. The person can scan the QR code. If you are sharing it with someone who is at a distance, you use the second click. Your QR code details, you can WhatsApp to the person or email it to the person or SMS it to the person. That is the second box. What is the third box? So if you are liking the idea and you feel you should also be part of this initiative as a volunteer, you can click on the third button. So if you are interested, you can do it now. It doesn't take much of your time. Only thing you need to spread words. Will provide you some predefined messages which you need to forward it to your friends and relatives. So you can click there and you will join. It will take you to a WhatsApp group where there are 40 people already. So you can join that. What else you see on this screen? So when you are meeting somebody and that somebody doesn't have a QR code, what that somebody will give you is a paper visiting card. You click on that button, all of you will see that camera opens up. And if the visiting card is put in front of camera, it would draw a line and automatically capture all the data and will give you the option to save the data in your mobile. So once you scan it, you can save it in your mobile then and there as a contact. So that is permanently captured in your mobile. उसके बाजू में क्या दिख रहा है आपको? So this is like all cards, whatever you scanned will be visible in this card folder. It is like a manual card folder holder. So you go there, you will see listing of all the cards there. We have also added one free field. Like suppose if you are exchanging, information about each other today. So एक आदमी को अगर 10-10 जनों के नाम सेव करने हैं तो वो याद नहीं रहेगा कौन कौन मिला था, right? So you can put JB Nagar study circle 4th November. There is a free field given in that card holder when you save the card. So that could become your reference point, pickup point. So whenever you want to retrieve the name, you can write that free field about that free field and retrieve all the information. Clear? Plus there are a few more options. There are 3 lines on top of it, right side of it, on the QR code wala screen, which is your home screen. So you can also see, few other things. If there is any query, any question, there is a support function there where you can raise write email for any sort of queries. Then about us, what is the preamble? How does the one more thing which is interesting on this QR code is number of users. Can you see that on your QR code screen? So what is the number you are able to see? 2512, right? So every time a new person joins, this number will change. Now there is one more line below this. What is this? So this is very transparent app. This will also show you at all point of time till today. Say for 8th October, we launched it. From 8th October till today, how much trees we have saved. So there is a hypothesis behind it, which is like one person doing 200 meetings every year
and wasting 400 cards. On that hypothesis, this calculation is being done. So if you people have joined today, your calculation for this will be reflected tomorrow, and that would be for 1 day. So 365 days में आप 400 कार्ड अगर वेस्ट कर रहे हो तो एक दिन में आप कितना 1.1 कुछ कार्ड वेस्ट कर रहे हो. Basis that the save tree का calculation will be captured here. So every time you can feel good कि how many trees have been saved by using this app. Now open for any question if you want to ask, if there is anything. Not only about this app, I discussed before that app also few important things to be taken care of in life.
Sir, there is a business currently running in the market which is very famous. You get plastic cards and that has QR code in it. So whenever you scan that QR code, automatically the website opens. So how is that as a competitor for Save Trees?
So that is my source of inspiration. I've been using that QR code which you are referring to, which is NFC enabled QR code. I paid 2,000 rupees some 2 years back when that was very new. And then I thought, why not make it available? I liked it. But then still you need to carry your card. At times you forget it. That is my source of inspiration, and that is the reason this app has been created. And this app has no competition. What we want is, what is the underlying idea? As long as people are saving trees, all these 33 members, thought partners, and 4 mentors are very happy. So there is no competition. But the way we have sort of eliminated the competition is these 33 people and 37 people taking all the cost about the initiative, and we are making it available free for lifetime for masses. So if you have to incur 500 rupee, vis-a-vis you have to, you are getting it free, there is no competition.
So this is solely for a social purpose. There are no income generation.
So as of now, it is like a group and no entity. Soon we will create a Section 8 entity. And then the underlying objective is clear. There is, I don't know when you downloaded it, there was a privacy policy where you take them.
Yes.
So if you go inside that privacy policy, you can read everything. So the privacy policy is very stringent. It is written by Ketan and Company, which is among the top 5 solicitors in the country. So it's very stringent. There is no scope for anybody. In fact, all the developers and the team, we have taken a written undertaking that they will not use the data for any other purpose. They will not sell the data to anybody. And in terms of server, we have taken AWS server, which is Amazon server, which is the best server available today when it comes to security. It has got file layer encryption. So no one can, there is no leakages possible from Amazon server. So we have taken care of that also. And sole purpose is social only. So this is one of the initiative. You can also see DMI there, right? When you download the app. So it is Deepak Mundra initiative. We kept it like that because we have few more initiatives lined up. So this data we will be using for our further initiatives. Just briefly, since you asked the question, the second initiative is creating a app which would be repository of rare blood groups. So we call it blood bank of rare blood groups. So like O negative is the rarest of the blood group. So all these people, say 1 year down the line, we have 1 lakh users. All these people would be by default registered on that app. Anybody needs blood at any point of time, blood ka zarurat kahan pe padta hai? Right? So what we are doing is we are mapping it with the pin code. Someone needs blood at say Lilavati. So usko Lilavati ka pin code डालना है. Within 1 kilometer का vicinity, जितने भी donors available है, वो सब pop up हो जाएंगे एक साथ. And then common message can be sent. So these database will be used for that initiative. And likewise, there are a few more initiatives lined up. But barring that, there is zero commercial interest. Anything else from your side?
No, I am using this. But frankly, अभी तक किसी को मैंने देने में यूज नहीं किया है. But जिस दिन से ये इस इनिशिएटिव में जुड़े हैं, जब से मुझे पता चला है, आई कैन से ये तो बहुत पहले से जुड़े होंगे, लेकिन जिस दिन से मुझे पता चला है तब से मैं इनके साथ ग्रुप में जुड़ी हुई हूँ. मतलब दिन रात ये वही सोच रहे हैं, वही खा रहे हैं, वही पी रहे हैं, एक तरह से बोल सकती हूँ. इट्स अ गुड इनिशिएटिव, इट्स फॉर यू. इट्स फॉर यू यंग पीपल, क्योंकि जो इकोसिस्टम की जो हालत हो रही है, ग्लोबल जो हालत हो रही है, ये बताने बहुत जरूरी है। एंड इनका ये थॉट प्रोसेस मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा कि हमें फ्यूचर जनरेशन के लिए ये चीज बतानी बहुत जरूरी है कि हम कैसे इन्वायरमेंट को अच्छा रख सकते हैं। हंसी की बात बताऊंगी, मेरे और घर में मेरे बच्चे मुझे एसी नहीं चलाने देते। जब शुरू में उन्होंने एसी के लिए मना किया, मैंने पूछा क्यों नहीं, एसी बिल्कुल भी नहीं चलाते इनफैक्ट। तो बोलते आप लोग हमारे लिए क्या छोड़ के जाओगे। पोल्यूशन डाल रहे हो और एनवायरमेंट में, फिर हमारे लिए क्या बचेगा।
True.
तो हमारे घर में एसी है, सिर्फ गेस्ट के लिए है। कभी कभी बीच में यदि गेस्ट ने भी नहीं चलाने के लिए बोलते तो पता चलता है कि कभी कभी बीच में मैकेनिक को बुला के ठीक करवा लो, नहीं तो पता चलेगा जब जरूरत पड़ी तो नहीं चल रहा है।
So when we people go to her place, we will get the
पता नहीं कब के लिए है। तो ये छोटी छोटी चीजें से हम काफी कुछ चेंज ला सकते हैं। हम यदि यही सोच रहे हैं वो भी तो इतनी एसी चला रहा है, तो मेरे यदि एक मैं नहीं चलाऊंगा तो क्या फर्क पड़ जाएगा। बट यही चीज हम सब सोचेंगे तो फर्क पड़ेगा। ठीक है ना, तो ये इनका इनिशिएटिव बहुत अच्छा है। एंड सर जो आप बोल रहे हो ना कि एक साल में 400, हमारे आरसीएम एक महीने के अंदर 400 खर्च करते हैं।
So no, I agree on average basis.
बट मेरा नहीं खर्च हुआ अभी तक भी। कार्ड में थोड़ा कंजूस हूँ उस मामले में, बोल सकते हैं कि मैं कार्ड जल्दी से देती नहीं किसी को। बट ये बहुत
So this is on an average basis hypothesis. Like I also have been giving 2000 cards every year. But when it comes to a defining hypothesis, I've taken average number.
Yes, yes. तो आप लोग सोच रहे होंगे कि आपको भी कार्ड की क्या जरूरत है, तो सर आपको क्यों बता रहे हैं। ये क्वेश्चन नहीं है दिमाग में। हाँ,
I think the purpose would be for कि आगे जाके we can use this app and we can make a change from this batch itself.
और कोई रीजन क्यों हमने सर को इन रिक्वेस्ट किया कि हाँ कि आपको ये सब बताए, क्योंकि अभी तो आप लोग को कार्ड नहीं दे रहे हो। मैं चाहूंगी बहुत जल्दी आप कार्ड देने लगो। क्योंकि आप लोग बहुत लोगों से मिल रहे हो, आप जहाँ ऑफिस में काम कर रहे हो, आपके पेरेंट्स हैं, आपके रिलेटिव्स हैं, ये अवेयरनेस फैला रहे हैं कि आप जितने लोगों से आप क्लासेज में कितने लोगों से मिलते हो, कितने लोगों से आप दिन भर में कितने लोगों से मिल लेते हो ना, तो ये एक अवेयरनेस फैलानी है। एक से एक जुड़ेगा तो ही अवेयरनेस होगी ना इस सब चीजों की। तो इसके लिए आप लोगों के लिए बताने के लिए इनको बुलाया कि आपको। और ये आपने देखा ही कि इनकी जो लाइफ जर्नी जो है, कितने बड़ी बड़ी कंपनी में ये काम कर चुके हैं, साथ में थे, उसके बाद में इतना सब सोचना, इट्स अ बिग थिंग। एंड इनके जो शेफ जो बोलते हैं, इन्होंने ये भी बताया ना कि ये शेफ हैं तो बनाते क्या है, डाइट फूड, प्योर डाइट फूड। और वो भी डाइट फूड ऐसा नहीं कि वो मतलब बहुत टेस्टी होता है, बहुत टेस्टी होता है। नहीं तो
मैं थोड़ा सा करेक्ट करता हूँ। The moment diet food ना, what people imagine is sprout, raw salad, and all that. So the theme which I am following in my channel is there are two themes. One is I'm trying to restore traditional kitchen wisdom back into our kitchens. So we are going far away from it. That is first, theme. Second is the recipes. The name I have given is The Recipes. THE. T stands for tasty. So if it is not tasty, no one can have it on a sustainable basis. H stands for healthy and E stands for easy. So since I make it, I make sure that it is very easy to make. So that is the reason the theme given is The Recipes.
तो आप लोग भी सर का चैनल फॉलो करो और आप भी बना सकते हो। बहुत इजी रेसिपीज है और बहुत ज्यादा तामझाम भी नहीं करवाते सर। मतलब जैसे ये भी इतने बिजी रहते हैं तो ज्यादा तामझाम करेंगे तो अगली बार भाभी करने ही नहीं देगी। पड़ेगा तो उतना ज्यादा चीजों की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ती। बहुत कम चीजों में बहुत टेस्टी और हेल्थ के लिए भी अच्छा रहे वैसा ये रेसिपी बनाते। पता नहीं कहाँ से घूम के इनके दिमाग में क्रिएटिव आइडिया आते हैं, बट नहीं बहुत अच्छा है। ये कोरोना के टाइम से इन्होंने स्टार्ट किया था वो चैनल भी, एंड आफ्टर दैट सेकंड इनिशिएटिव ये कार्ड वाला भी।
So I've been cooking for more than 3 decades. COVID gave that opportunity. Lot of time was there, so I created this channel for masses. And just as she is highlighting, I will give you one example. The last recipe which I published was dahi ka sabji. It's only dahi and then few vegetables. And within 5 minutes that, sabji could be ready. And even if you have a, VIP guest at home, would appreciate. So all the recipes are very easy to make. So the way I introduce myself, Chef CA Deepak Mundra.
तो मैं वही बोलती हूँ आप लोगों को कि अपनी हॉबी को अपने पैशन को रखना चाहिए, खत्म नहीं करना है, उससे आप लाइव रहते हो। हाँ, अपने को खाली उसी के भरोसे भी नहीं चलना है, सीए करना है मैडम तो बोल के सीए करना है, हॉबी और पैशन को भी साथ में लेके कंटिन्यू रखना, जिससे थोड़ा दिमाग को रिलैक्सेशन मिलता है, अच्छा लगता है यदि आप अपने हॉबी और अपने पैशन का कुछ करते हो तो, एंड फिर से एनर्जी मिलती है आपको आगे के पढ़ने के लिए, आगे कुछ भी करने के लिए। तो थैंक यू दीपक जी, आप आए और हमारे
Thank you very much.
अच्छे से गाइड किया।
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. I am happy connecting with so many people. And you will not give me work, okay?
वही मैं बोल रही हूँ कि इनका यहाँ आने का मतलब ऐसा नहीं था कि आप लोगों से कोई बिजनेस डीलिंग होने वाली है या कुछ। सबसे मेन पार्ट है जो मैं वो पूछ रहा था कि आपका कंपटीशन, मैं उस समय मैं वही बोलने वाली थी, यदि आप कोई चीज फ्री में दे रहे हो तो आपका किसी से कोई कंपटीशन ही नहीं है। वो चीज फ्री में जब बांट रहे हैं तो हमारे किसी से कोई कंपटीशन हो ही नहीं सकता। सेव द ट्री इज द कंपटीशन फॉर ऑल आल्सो। इसके कंपटीशन में भी आप ले सकते हो कि आपने कितने लोगों को शेयर किया तो आप उतनी ट्री आप बचा रहे हो।
I give you one example, since we are talking about competition. One of the thought partner liked the idea and he is working with a very large organization. And when we launched the app, उसके next day आके मेरे को बोलता है यार मेरे को I have to confess something. बोला क्या हो गया? बोला यार हमने parallel track पे we like the idea so much कि we also created an app for our organization. So I told him instead of confessing, let me thank you. You are helping us to achieve our objective. I would be more happy if hundreds of other organizations also implement this captively. मेरा तो cost बचेगा, नहीं तो cost लग रहा है, right? But we achieve the same end objective.
Actually, जितनी अवेयरनेस होगी उतना अच्छा ही है। यदि और भी कोई ऐप आता है फ्री में दे रहा है then it's also fine, क्योंकि मोटिव पैसा कमाना है ही नहीं, मोटिव है एनवायरनमेंट बचा। तो यदि और भी कोई जुड़ रहा है साथ में, वो हमसे अच्छा ऐप बना ले रहा है तो भी हम खुश है कि चलो हमारे जैसे हमें इनको जैसे उससे मोटिव मिला, प्लास्टिक कार्ड से उनको मिला कि हाँ ये ऐसे दे रहा है तो हमको भी कुछ वैसा करना चाहिए, तो सेव द कार्ड कर सेव द ट्री। तो अच्छी बात है कि हम इनसे भी मोटिवेट होके कोई और अच्छा कुछ बना रहा है, यदि कुछ अच्छा हो उसको और थॉट प्रोसेस आ रहा है तो इनका मोटिव है, हम लोगों का जो मोटिव है वो अचीव हो कर सकेंगे, है ना। तो आप लोग सभी वॉलंटियर ग्रुप में जुड़ जाओ और आप भी सबके आप लोगों के जो भी हॉस्टल में रहते हो, कॉलेज में रहते हो, यहाँ भी आप ये ऐप सबको दीजिए। अभी से बनाना चालू कर दो, आगे थोड़ा सी
I have also written my number here, the last line. So if there is anything you want to ask or if you want to become an active volunteer, would be happy to connect. And then I will give you work.
So now I request our Vikasa Secretary to thank you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opportunity. Thank you so much, sir. We learned a lot from your initiative and hope we will definitely use this facility of saving the cards for sure. And we will promote in all our Vikasa activities and events that please save the tree by using this app. So thank you so much for sparing us time for us. कार्ड लेंगे ना कार्ड लेने देंगे। Thank you so much, sir. आपने time दिया and very great initiative. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And Ronak. Yes. ये हमारा विकासा वाइस चेयरमैन।
अच्छा।
ये हमारा विकासा सेक्रेटरी। और बाकी तो विकासा की टीम यहाँ पर है। मैं बात करती हूँ ना चेयरमैन से, हमारा जो रीजनल कॉन्फ्रेंस और नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस है ना 15 और 16 दिसंबर को, तो वहाँ भी इसको करते हैं, क्योंकि वहाँ पर 5,000 से ज्यादा लोग आएंगे, इसलिए मेंबर्स और स्टूडेंट्स सब रहेंगे वहाँ पे, सब वहाँ पे भी अपने फ्रेंड्स को मीट कर सकते हैं।
15 and 16 December.
नेस्को में है वो रिवर्स, इसी के बाद हमारी वॉलंटियर मीटिंग
Yeah. So, in GSTR 3B, we enter the outward supply details as well as input tax credit claimed. So, in GSTR 3B, the first table is 3.1. Tax on outward supply on reverse charge inward supplies. 3.1.1, the second table, which is supplies notified under section 9(5). Third is 3.2, interstate supplies. The fourth is the eligible ITC. Fifth is exempt. 5.1 is interest and late fees, and the sixth one is the payment of tax. So there are almost 7 tables in GSTR 3B compared to GSTR 1, where we had 19 tables. So in GSTR 3B, so table 3.1, here we have to enter the details of outward supplies. So outward supplies including zero rated, nil rated, exempt, non-GST. So in GST, when we had entered the details in GSTR 1, those details get auto-populated in GSTR 3B. And if we want to change those details, majority of times it happens, ki some details have not been reported in GSTR 1, and now we are reporting it in GSTR 3B, that outward supply detail. So here we can change those details. Also, when we change those details, there a pop-up comes ki, you are changing the outward supply details. So the first thing, which is outward taxable supplies, which is other than zero rated, nil rated, and exempt. Then outward taxable supplies, zero rated, which I have explained earlier, like the export transactions. Third is other outward supplies, nil rated and exempt. As we are not entering under the in A column, here we are entering other outward supply, nil rated and exempt. The fourth one is inward supplies liable to reverse charge, and the fifth is non-GST outward supply. So out of these 5, the 4, the first 3 and the last one gets auto-populated. But the second last one, which is inward supplies liable to reverse charge, that does not get auto-populated because we don't enter the detail of that in GSTR. We enter only the document series. From the GSTR 2B. So before explaining 3B further, there is a form called as, there's a return format called as GSTR 2A and GSTR 2B. So when the supplier enters the details of the vendor in his GSTR 1, that gets auto-populated in GSTR 2A and 2B. So there's a very thin line of difference between GSTR 2A and 2B. The difference basically is GSTR 2A is dynamic and GSTR 2B is static. What I mean by is in GSTR 2A, on a real-time basis, it gets updated. Whereas in GSTR 2B, it gets fixed. Suppose my GSTR 1 due date is on 11th of September, so 11th of the next month for the regular taxpayers and 13th for quarterly taxpayers. So GSTR 2B gets generated on the 13th night. Moreover, you can say 14th morning. So suppose if a supplier files his details in GSTR 3B, GSTR 1 on 14th, that will not get reflected in his 2B. That 14th wala will get reflected in his next month's 2B. So GSTR GSTR1, GSTR2A and 2B. 2A में अगर 14th को भी डाला है तो if you download 2A on 14th, you'll get that details on in the GSTR2A in 2A form. But the government mandates to use GSTR2B and not 2A. Though it has made a rule to use just GSTR2B, but it has kept GSTR2A as well also on the portal. It has not deleted GSTR2A. The reason being the huge companies are there. Basically, वहां क्या होता है कि payment basis पे to release the payment of vendors, they use GSTR2A. Suppose if he files his GSTR, the other party, the vendor files his GSTR2B to GSTR1 on 14th or 15th. जब GSTR2B अगर 13th को डाउनलोड कर दिया रात को या 14th मॉर्निंग को, वो पेमेंट तो दिखेगा, वो एंट्री तो दिखेगा नहीं उसका, वो दिखेगा नेक्स्ट मंथ. सो नेक्स्ट मंथ पेमेंट डिले होगा. सो जो ह्यूज कंपनीज, जो बड़ी बड़ी कंपनीज होती हैं, वो लोग ये GSTR2A यूज करते हैं. मेजर पर्पस इज फॉर पेमेंट रिलीज करने के लिए. अकॉर्डिंगली दे मैप इट कि सपोज दिस वेंडर हैज पेड, so we can pay that vendor accordingly. So वैसे we have to use GSTR2B only. For GSTR2A is just for the matching payment basis. So here in GSTR2B reverse charge, जैसा I told, it get auto populated. How does it get auto populated is when the vendor files his GSTR1, when he enters the invoice level details, there you have to mention whether it is liable to reverse charge or not. If it is liable to reverse charge, in GSTR2B there is a column ki whether it is liable to reverse charge. So those who are liable to reverse charge, we select it yes or no. अगर no है तो blank ही रहता है, yes हो तभी it gets reflected. So according to that it gets auto populated over here. And majority of times ऐसा भी होता है कि सामने वेंडर ने कर दिया हो GSTR3B में 2B1 में जब फाइल करते हुए, बट हमारे पास उसका इनवॉइस आया ना हो, बट हमारे 2B में रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा हो. So in such a case the companies take a view ki we'll not pay it now, we'll pay it when the vendor provides us the invoice and hum usko book kar le tab. So accordingly the companies change these details also. And agar kuch department ka notice या कुछ आता है तो companies have a reasonable justification for it कि it has not getting reflected in, मतलब we have not booked that invoice, हमारे पास वो इनवॉइस वेंडर ने प्रोवाइड ही नहीं किया था. सो दैट इज द रीजन वी आर नॉट पेइंग इट. वील पे इट लेटर व्हेन इट कम्स. The next thing is so in table 3.1.1 details of supplies notified under section 9.5 on which ECO, electronic commerce operator, pays tax, or supplies made by a registered person through electronic commerce operators. So in GSTR1, like we used to mention the invoice level wise details. In the whole GSTR3B we mention summary level details. We don't mention the invoice level wise details. So table 3.1 जिसमें हम लोग outward supply का करते हैं, the second table 3.1.1, here ECO, basically ECOs are what these electronic commerce operator company like Flipkart, Amazon. So अगर इनके through supply होता है, here we enter those details. In table 3.1a and 3.11, which is this only, details of supplies made to interstate unregistered suppliers are to be mentioned on place of supply basis on summary level. Further, supplies made to composition taxable person or UIN is required to be reported. This one, interstate supplies. So under this, as we mentioned in GSTR1 B2CS में हम लोग place of supply के basis पे जब details mention कर देते हैं, ये details यहाँ पे जाके auto populate हो जाता है. So पूरा एक इनवॉइस लेवल मतलब पूरा एक समरी बेसिस ऑन द प्लेस ऑफ सप्लाई बेसिस ये जाके ऑटो पॉपुलेट हो जाता है. Table 5 details of inward supplies which in nature are exempt, nil or non-GST inward supplies are to be reported. In table 3.1 we had to report the outward supply, but in table 5 we have to report the inward supplies. Basically in this I'll explain table 4 later. Table 5 exempt, nil and non-GST inward supplies. यहाँ पे अगर हमें कुछ जो सप्लाई मिल रही है जो एग्जेम्प्ट हो, हमने कुछ खरीदा कि वो कुछ एग्जेम्प्ट हो या उस पे जीएसटी नहीं चार्ज कर रहे हो या नॉन जीएसटी हो, दिस those supplies we mention over here, whereas supplies which we are providing which are exempt, nil, non GST we mentioned in table 3.1. The next table is 5.1, interest and late fees for previous tax periods. Basically, here if you see previous tax period in GST, there is a concept like if I don't file my return now or if I file my return late for the month of October, now my GSTR 3B due date is 20th of November for the month of October. I file my return on 24th or 25th. Now I have to pay late fees against it. That late fees I'll not pay in the November month's return or October month's return, which I'm filing in November. I will pay it in December month's return, and November month's return, which I would file it in December month. Basically, हम previous tax period का रिपोर्ट अकॉर्डिंगली उसके बेसिस पे हम लोग पे करते हैं. इसका कोई ऐसा स्पेसिफिक रीजन नहीं है. You can pay it also in this month, but government portal does not allow us to do. But you can, you know, आप इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कैश लेजर में पे कर दो और यहाँ पे डिटेल्स एंटर कर दो. बाद में जब आप नेक्स्ट मंथ का भी रिटर्न फाइल करोगे वहां पे डिटेल्स ऑटोमेटिकली ऑटो पॉपुलेट होगा. सो दैट डिटेल्स यू हैव टू रिमूव इट. एंड अगर कुछ डिपार्टमेंट से आता है तो यू कैन टेल कि वी हैव पेड द टैक्स अमाउंट, द लेट फीस एंड चार्जेस. The next is payment of tax. Payment of tax is basically your, इसमें हमारा काम ये 6 टेबल्स में होता है. The 7th table which is payment of tax, the outward supply का tax either we are paying it through cash or we are paying through ITC. So after we fill all these 6 details we come to the 7th one. So now I'll explain you the table 4 eligible ITC. This is one of the most essential part of GSTR 3B, or I would say the GST law. It forms the crux of GST. So in GSTR 3B table 4, earlier, like last year, there was a different format of GSTR 3B. Of table 4 specifically, like if you see these 5 are same. In 4B ITC reversed as per rule 4243, but in this we have mentioned as per rule 38, 42, 43 and 17.5 of the CGST Act. Others. 4D as per section 17.5, which is block credit. And here other details ITC reclaimed, which was reversed under table 4B2 in the earlier tax period, and others and this. So basically if you see 4A part is the same, 4B part mein 4B1 is different and 4BD is also different. So the government introduced this concept last year only, but still there are very few company who are using this type now, but eventually सबको यही use करना है, because now the government are sending notices as well also. So basically this concept is what? Import of goods, जो भी अगर हमारा ये inward supply of import of goods होगा वो, import of services, if we are importing anything, that inward supply is liable to reverse charge other than 1 and 2. So import of goods, import of services, इसमें जो सामने की जो पार्टी है, जब outside India की party है, they are not charging the tax. Here we have to pay the tax on our own because it comes under the reverse charge basis. But the third part is inward supply is liable to reverse charge other than 1 and 2. जैसे goods transport या lawyers, advocates का जो हो गया. Inward supplies from ISD and all other ITC. Now we come upon the 4B section, ITC reversed. As per rule 42-43 of the CGST rule, here it is as per section 38, rule 42-43 and 17.5. So section 38 is basically 180-day reversal. If you do not pay your vendor within a period of 180 days, you have to reverse that credit. Rule 42, rule 43. 42 is basically if inward supplies, I am supplying my goods and the inward supplies which I have received, but against that I am supplying exempt goods as well as taxable goods. So there is a proportionate formula and accordingly we calculate that thing. Rule 42. Rule 43, in 42 it's just the input part, but in rule 43 it is capital goods part as well also ki, you know, I am taking some capital goods but I am supplying goods which are either taxable and which are exempt, so accordingly वो proportionate हो जाता है. 17.5 which is block credits like rent a cab या beauty healthcare services and others. Now 4B ITC reversed. Reversal of ITC which are absolute in nature and not reclaimable, such as on account of rule 38, 42, 43 of the CGST rules for reporting ineligible ITC under section 17.5 of the CGST Act. Basically this ITC I cannot claim आगे भी because the 17.5 is the block credit. Rule 42, 43 are the ITC जो मैं exempt के लिए supply कर रहा हूँ, वो भी I cannot claim according to the GST law. So here we mention those details. Other part. Reversal of ITC which are not permanent in nature and can be reclaimed in future subject to fulfillment of specific conditions, such on account of Rule 37 and Section 16(2)(c) of the CGST Act. Such ITC may be reclaimed in Table 4A5 on fulfillment of necessary conditions. So in GSTR 2B, there are 10 vendors. In my GSTR 2B, 10 vendors are reflect ho rahe hain. I am filing my GSTR 3B for the month of October in the month of November. So when I'm filing when I'm downloading my GSTR 2B on 14th or 15th of November, I see there are 20 vendors. In my books, there are just 17 vendors. जिसके अगेंस्ट तो मैच हो रहा, 3 वेंडर्स के अगेंस्ट नहीं मैच हो रहा है. सो दोस 3 वेंडर्स मेरे बुक्स में नहीं है बट GSTR 2B में है, बट आई कैन नॉट क्लेम बिकॉज आई डोंट हैव एन इनवॉइस फॉर इट, I don't have the details for it, and hence I have not booked in my books of accounts, so I will not claim that ITC credit. So if I'm not claiming that ITC credit, I have to reverse it. Now reverse it in 4B2 others because I am not claiming it. Now if I claim it in those 3 entries come in the month of December, when I claim those entries in the month of December, that entries I will again claim that ITC. But how will I claim that ITC? I'll enter those details in 4A5. So all other ITC का जो figure है, excluding these things, all other ITC में क्या होता है, GSTR 2B का जो figure है वो आता है. Excluding import of goods, import of services, reverse charge, ISD. So all other ITC में जो भी B2B supplies होते हैं और deducting the credit debit notes वो reflect होता है in all other ITC. So अब मैं जब अक्टूबर का 3B फाइल कर रहा हूँ in the month of November, मेरे GSTR 2B में सिर्फ अक्टूबर का यहाँ पे रिफ्लेक्ट होएगा, बट नाउ सपोज सितंबर में ऐसा हुआ हो कि 3 एंट्रीज नहीं मैच हुई हो, अब मेरे GSTR 2B में यहाँ तो रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं होगा। जब मैं सितंबर का मंथ का रिटर्न फाइल करूंगा तब मैंने यहाँ पे वो एंट्री रिवर्स कर दी होगी 4B2 में। तो जो मैंने एंट्री रिवर्स की है वो मैं अपने 4A5 में वापस ऐड कर दूंगा। मैं ऐड इसीलिए करूंगा बिकॉज मैं उसका क्रेडिट क्लेम कर सकता हूं अभी, इसीलिए बिकॉज मैं उसका क्रेडिट क्लेम कर रहा हूं, इसीलिए आई विल ऐड दैट फिगर इन 4A5 which is my October month's GSTR 2B plus those 3 entries in the month of September जो मैंने क्लेम नहीं किया था और मैं उसको अभी क्लेम कर रहा हूं, वो मैं अपने 4A5 में ऐड कर दूंगा। 4D other details. ITC reclaimed which was reversed under table 4B2 in the earlier tax period. So ITC reclaimed which was reversed under 4B2 in the earlier tax period. This 4D1 जब मैंने वो 3 एंट्री सितंबर में मैच नहीं किया, सो मैंने उसको यहाँ पे रिवर्स में डाला, करेक्ट। जब मैंने उसको यहाँ पे रिवर्स में डाला, अब जब मैं अक्टूबर मंथ का 3B फाइल कर रहा हूं इन द मंथ ऑफ नवंबर, मैं यहाँ पे मेरे 4A5 में आई एम एडिंग दैट एंट्री 3 एंट्रीज, so I am claiming that entries, I am claiming the ITC against that entries. So ITC which I am claiming, I have to mention those details in 4D1 which is ITC reclaimed which was reversed under table 4B2 in the earlier tax period. So ITC reclaimed those 3 entries which I am reclaiming it, which was reversed under table 4B2 in the earlier tax period. वो 3 entries मैंने अपने 4B2 में reverse किया था in the month of September, so that I have to mention over here. The next part is ineligible ITC under section 16(4) and ITC restricted due to POS provisions. POS provisions is place of supply provisions. So ineligible ITC restricted place of supply generally in the case of hospitality industries like I have mentioned over here. 4D2 के few examples I have mentioned over here. In relation to immovable property, place of supply is the location of the immovable property. So if I am a registered person in Gujarat, I have purchased a property in Maharashtra, so accordingly my place of supply would be Maharashtra, but in my GSTR 2B also it would be CGST and it would be IGST, sorry, it would be IGST, but यहाँ पे जो मेरा वहां पे आता है, you can in GSTR 2B it gets auto populated कि when you know whether you can claim that ITC or not, तो जो भी we can not claim वहां पे mention किया हुआ होता है. So suppose this I cannot claim in my GSTR 3B, so this I would mention it in my 4D2 which is ineligible ITC under section 16(5) and ITC which is restricted due to place of supply provisions. Lodging, accommodation by a hotel, inn, guest house, homestay, club. Place of supply is the location of immovable property. Generally, my company, suppose I have an ABC Limited company that is registered in Maharashtra. An employee from Maharashtra is going to Delhi and staying at Hotel Leela over there. So Hotel Leela, according to the place of supply provisions, it would charge CGST and SGST only. Q, because place of supply is the location of the immovable property. Hotel Leela is in Delhi. That is the reason it would charge CGST and SGST. But ideally it should charge IGST because my employee is going from Maharashtra to Delhi and on the bill he is providing Maharashtra का registration number, Delhi 07 जो state code है वो लीला hotels का वहां का है, तो interstate supply हो गया, IGST charge होना चाहिए था, But according to the place of supply provisions, they are charging CGST and SGST. This I cannot claim in my GSTR 3B. So if I cannot claim in my GSTR 3B, it is a loss to the company. And this I have to mention over here, which is ineligible ITC under section 16(4) and ITC which is restricted due to the place of supply provisions. Accommodation in any immobile property for organizing any convention or business event. The same example for lodging accommodation, you can relate it to that. So this I have made a flow chart, basically ITC eligibility as reported in GSTR 2B. So if it is reported as eligible in GSTR 2B, that is जो मैंने examples दिए थे, if it is excluding those examples, eligible है ITC and all the section 16 conditions are fulfilled. In section 16 is basically the it has laid specific conditions based on which you can claim the ITC. If all have been fulfilled, so whether claimed in the same month, yes. मैंने अभी I'll take an example for the month of October GSTR 2B. अक्टूबर में मेरे पास जो इनवॉइसेस आए उसमें जो सेक्शन 16 के कंडीशंस थे कि आई हैव रिसीव्ड एन इनवॉइस, टैक्स इज चार्ज, इनवॉइस इज प्रॉपर, इट इज एन एलिजिबल आईटीसी व्हिच आई कैन क्लेम. It would be reported in my 4A5. 4A5 is basically जो मेरा GSTR 2B का फिगर जिसमें रिफ्लेक्ट हो रहा है अक्टूबर मंथ में. Whether claimed in the same month? No. 4A5 and 4B2, that ITC I am not, those 3 entries जो मैंने उसका पहले example दिया था, those 3 entries I am not claiming in this month. I would claim in the next month. So when I would claim in, मैंने इस बार तो वो entry मेरे 2B में है, मैं claim नहीं कर रहा हूँ but 2B में है, तो अगर 2B में है तो मेरे 4A5 में वो entries reflect हो रही है. So as those entries are getting reflected in 4A5, I do not have to do anything. But 4B2 में I have to provide a reversal for it. 4B2 is what this thing. Others. So others में मुझे उसका रिवर्सल करना है. नेक्स्ट मंथ जब मैं वो आईटीसी क्लेम कर लूंगा तब मैं उसको सिर्फ 4A5 में ऐड करूंगा, अदर्स में कुछ भी मैं नहीं डालूंगा. Ineligible ITC rule 42, 43, 17(5), 4A5 and 4B1. इस बार मेरे GSTR 2B में इनएलिजिबल है तो मेरे 4A5 में वो रिफ्लेक्ट होगा. अब I am reversing it in my 4B1, which is as per section 38, rule 42, rule 43, I am reversing it because I cannot claim that credit. So basically, you know, ये आप कर सकते हो PT, एक short form acronym कि P is permanent reversal and T is temporary reversal. Permanent reversal is what जो ब्लॉक क्रेडिट्स है रूल 38, 42, 43 वो हो गया परमानेंट रिवर्सल. टेम्पररी रिवर्सल अदर्स मैं अब नहीं क्लेम करूंगा बट जब नेक्स्ट मंथ आएगा तब मैं उसको क्लेम करूंगा तो वो हो जाएगा टेम्पररी रिवर्सल. रिपोर्टेड एज इनएलिजिबल इन GSTR 2B, जो मैंने ये दिखाए थे ये वाले कि इन रिलेशन टू इमूवेबल प्रॉपर्टी, लॉजिंग, अकोमोडेशन इन एनी immovable property, ये सब, these entries are ineligible in my GSTR 2B. These are marked as ineligible and hence I would report it in my 4A5 and accordingly in 4D2. 4D2 is this ineligible ITC under section 16(4) and which is restricted due to place of supply provisions as I cannot claim those credits. Understanding which documents we have to report in each section. So month in which credit is appearing in GSTR 2B but you are not eligible to avail owing to section 16 conditions. 4A5 temporary availment to match GSTR 2B. I am availing it to match with GSTR 2B temporary. जो मैंने PT का acronym बोला permanent reversal and temporary reversal. 4B2 temporary reversal to re-avail in future. I am availing those 3 entries in future. That is the reason. Availment of credit appeared in earlier GSTR 2B when conditions to avail is not fulfilled. तो current में 4A 5 में add plus 2B में auto populated. 4D1 re-reporting of the credit reversed earlier in 4B2. जो 3 एंट्रीज थे मैंने उसको रिवर्स किया था, अब मैं उसको वापस से नेक्स्ट मंथ रिक्लेम कर रहा हूं. जब मैं रिक्लेम कर रहा हूं तब मैं ये एंट्रीज यहाँ पे 4D1 में ऐड कर दूंगा. सो बेसिकली दिस इज द न्यू फॉर्मेट. जो पहले होता था, पहले ये फॉर्मेट नहीं था. पहले इट वाज क्वाइट अ सिंपल फॉर्मेट, बट दिस फॉर्मेट वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन द मंथ ऑफ जुलाई और जुलाई 2022 में एक नोटिफिकेशन आया था कि फ्रॉम अगस्त 2022 GSTR 3B वी हैव टू यूज दिस फॉर्मेट. सो दिस फॉर्मेट केम इन अगस्त 2022 से एप्लीकेबल हुआ, बट अभी भी कंपनीज are not using this format, which they eventually have to use it because government ने नया लेजर बनाया. जैसे GST पोर्टल पे 3 लेजर्स हैं, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक कैश, क्रेडिट एंड लायबिलिटी लेजर. अभी एक चौथा लेजर है which is इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट रिवर्सल एंड रिक्लेम लेजर. इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट रिवर्सल एंड रिक्लेम लेजर इज व्हाट जो मैं रिक्लेम कर रहा हूं. वो 3 एंट्रीज जो मैं रिक्लेम कर रहा हूं वो ना ऑटो पॉपुलेट हो जाएगा मेरे वो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट रिवर्सल एंड रिक्लेम लेजर में. सो ये लेजर इंट्रोड्यूस्ड हुआ है 31 अगस्त 2023. रिसेंटली गवर्नमेंट ने एक नोटिफिकेशन निकाला, उसके थ्रू ये सर्कुलर इंट्रोड्यूस्ड हुआ है ये लेजर. एंड इसका एप्लीकेबल मतलब अगर जैसे जीएसटी पोर्टल पे आप जाओगे, कोई भी वेंडर का लॉगिन करोगे क्लाइंट्स का, ये वहां पे ये लेजर डिस्प्ले ऑटोमेटिकली हो जाएगा अभी. सो ड्यू टू दिस दे हैव टू डू द रिपोर्टिंग रिक्वायरमेंट्स. सो मैंने एक ये था कि इनएलिजिबल आईटीसी इन सेक्शन 17(5) जो मैं पीटी करके एक्रिमोनियम बोल रहा था, परमानेंट रिवर्सल, टेम्परेरी रिवर्सल, तो इनएलिजिबल आईटीसी मेरा परमानेंट रिवर्सल ही हो गया बिकॉज मैं इसको कभी अवेल करूंगा ही नहीं. रिवर्सल ऑफ आईटीसी एज पर रूल 42-43 भी परमानेंट हो गया. इनवॉइस डिटेल्स व्हिच आर इनकरेक्ट इन जीएसटीआर 2B एंड रिक्वायर्स अमेंडमेंट, ये मेरा टेम्परेरी रिवर्सल हो गया बिकॉज मैं इसको अभी नहीं अवेल करूंगा बट मैं आगे जाके अवेल करूंगा. आईटीसी व्हिच हैज नॉट फुलफिल सेक्शन 16, बेसिकली अब अभी वो वेंडर ने इनवॉइस लेवल करेक्ट नहीं दिया होगा, आगे जाके वो जब करेक्ट देगा तो अब मैं उसको फॉर दिस मंथ मैं उसको रिवर्सल में डालूंगा, टेम्परेरी रिवर्सल, एंड आगे जाके आई वुड क्लेम इट इन माय आईटीसी. सो इसी के मैंने एग्जांपल्स दिए थे, सो वील जस्ट स्किप दीज एग्जांपल्स. So point to keep in mind while filing GSTR 3B. So GSTR 3B is a comprehensive returns which determines the tax liability. So even if in GSTR 1 outward supply details are not filled completely, taxpayer can fill in the same over here to avoid any interest implication. मैंने GSTR 1 जब मेरा फाइल किया था 11th of the month को, तब I found कि some of the details I have not mentioned. Some of the outward supply details I have not mentioned. So this I can mention it over here in my GSTR 3B outward supply table 3.1, जिसको मैंने बोला था कि अपन edit भी कर सकते हैं. As GSTR 3B determines the ITC, it becomes very essential to do the ITC reconciliation. Matching the ITC availed with those in books is necessary. So GSTR 1 was outward supply. 3B में as I explained table 4, यहाँ पे there is specific ITC जो हम लोग avail कर रहे हैं. That ITC should get matched with the books of accounts, and hence matching those with the books of accounts is very essential for even the audit purpose. And so it is essential कि we provide an appropriate reconciliation. Credit should be reflected in GSTR 2B. If the same is not getting reflected, a communication must be sent to the vendor to file his GSTR 1 against his name. So in my GSTR 2, in my books, that entry is there. बट अप्रैल मंथ में वो एंट्री थी, बट अब तक मेरे 2B में वो एंट्री रिफ्लेक्ट नहीं हो रही है. सो यू कैन communicate with the vendor, you can drop him an email कि these entries are not getting reflected, so please fill in your details in GSTR1. Suppose details incorrect होगा तो आप उसको amend करो, मे बी ऐसा हो सकता है GSTN incorrect हो, वो क्रेडिट कोई दूसरे पार्टी को गया हो. So that is the reason we can do this. So credit of the previous year can be availed till 30th November of the next year. This basically is जो मैंने पहले बोला था कि 30th September तक ले सकते थे, but अब 30th November हो गया. And as in GSTR 3B, we pay taxes, so we have to keep a sufficient balance with us. Sufficient balance, like we have to pay cash to the government, and so we need to have the sufficient balance in our bank account so that you can pay the taxes. The manner of utilization of ITC credits in GSTR 3B is IGST balance should be first utilized against IGST and then CGST, SGST. CGST balance can be utilized against CGST, IGST, SGST against SGST and IGST. However, while distribution of credit, taxpayer must ensure that IGST credit should be fully exhausted. Basically, this has come last year only. Like I have my balance in IGST, but I have not utilized it. Until and unless I utilize that balance, मैं उसका क्रेडिट नहीं, मतलब मैं CGST, SGST का सेट ऑफ नहीं कर सकता. पहले मुझे IGST का पूरा बैलेंस नील करना पड़ेगा, and after that I can claim my I can set off my CGST, SGST. So this is the last slide, and then we'll move on. Interesting things to know about GSTR 1 and 3B. So to boost digitalization, e-invoices have to be generated for vendors having turnover of more than 5 crores. Like at the start of the presentation, I had told कि government is moving towards digitalization. So अगर e-invoice generate होता है, वो auto populate हो जाता है GSTR 1 में. So this point is that only कि e-invoices have to be generated for vendors. On generation by the client, the same gets auto-populated. This can also be downloaded in Excel form from GSTR1 dashboard on the GST portal. So, like there are various companies, इसका turnover बहुत होता है. Now there are like 1,000 invoices in a particular month. My B2B, the government portal does not let us go beyond 500. Like I can enter those 1,000, but I cannot see that invoice level wise details. मेरे को अगर invoice level wise details देखना है तो मैं 500 invoices तक का ही देख सकता हूँ. So government ने ये एक facility provide की है कि e-invoice register नीचे जो होता है हम लोग वो डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं, एंड अकॉर्डिंगली जो भी वो रजिस्टर में एंट्रीज है that are auto populated in your table 3.1, and that entry only you can match it through with your books of accounts. One can file GSTR 1 or 3B through government offline utility, which is in two modes, either in XML format or the Excel format. या तो एक गवर्नमेंट ने जैसे इनकम टैक्स का यूटिलिटी होता है, वैसे ही जीएसटी का भी एक अलग से यूटिलिटी है. साथ में गवर्नमेंट ने एक एक्सेल यूटिलिटी भी बनाया है. हम उसमें भी एंटर कर सकते हैं अपने डिटेल्स, या हम डायरेक्टली भी ऑनलाइन फाइल कर सकते हैं. बट जब बहुत सारे इनवॉइसेस हो, ऑनलाइन फैसिलिटी इज ऑफ कोर्स नॉट फीजिबल. So through these utilities we can make our process easier. When the turnover of the month is nil, taxpayers still have to file their returns, and there is no exemption for it. अगर हमारा टर्नओवर निल है तभी भी हमें अपना GSTR 1 या 3B फाइल करना कंपलसरी है. अगर हमने फाइल नहीं किया, जब हम लोग लेटर मंथ्स में फाइल कर रहे हैं तब हमें उसका लेट फीस एंड इंटरेस्ट भरना पड़ेगा. So it is compulsorily to file your nil GSTR 1 and 3B. And nil, suppose हम लोग को डायरेक्टली गवर्नमेंट पोर्टल पे जाने की भी जरूरत नहीं है नील फाइल करने के लिए। नील फाइल करने के लिए हम सीधा मैसेज के थ्रू, गवर्नमेंट ने एक स्पेसिफिक ऑप्शन प्रोवाइड किया है कि हम मैसेज के थ्रू बाय मैसेजिंग ऑन नंबर 14409 वहां पे हम अपना GSTN डाल दे, वहां पे हम स्पेस करके एक अपना नील करके रिटर्न डाल दे एंड रिटर्न पीरियड डाल दे। Suppose I am filing for the month of July. So my return type is G1, which is GSTR1. तो return 1, my GSTN और जो period, like यहाँ पे example में मैंने mention किया है April 2020. ये message I'll send it on the number 14409. After this, after when I send this message, I'll receive a verification code from the government. जो गवर्नमेंट वैलिडेट करता है वो वेरिफिकेशन कोड मुझे वापस से गवर्नमेंट को भेजना है एंड देन माय रिटर्न वुड बी फाइल्ड। सो फॉलोइंग पीपल डू नॉट हैव टू फाइल GSTR 1 3B। इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर्स, इनके लिए होता है GSTR 6, so that's the reason they do not have to file 1 or 3B. Composition dealers have GSTR 4. Supplier of OADR services, OADR online services जो Netflix and ये सब जो services हैं, for them it is GSTR 5A. Non-resident taxable person, taxpayers liable to collect TDS TCS. So these TDS TCS is GST का TDS TCS, not income tax का. Income tax का अलग है and GST का अलग है because people get confused. So इनके लिए एक अलग return है. And for monthly taxpayers, the due date is 11th, and for quarterly is 13th. So quarterly, अगर जिसका turnover is up to 5 crores, for them it is quarterly return filing. And GSTR 3B is 20th of the next month, and for quarterly it is either 22nd or 24th of the month succeeding the quarter. Either 22nd or 24th. Basically 22nd is for some states and 24th is for other states. So Maharashtra में 22nd in if GSTR 1 of a month is not filed, GSTR 3B gets blocked for that month and vice versa. So पहले ऐसा होता था कि हम अगर 1 नहीं भी फाइल करें तो 3B फाइल कर सकते हैं, बट रिसेंटली गवर्नमेंट ने ये निकाला अगर हम GSTR 1 नहीं फाइल करेंगे तो 3B भी नहीं फाइल करने मिलेगा, वो ब्लॉक हो जाएगा। एंड सपोज मैंने GSTR 3B अक्टूबर का नहीं फाइल किया तो मैं GSTR 1 नवंबर का नहीं फाइल कर पाऊंगा। सो ये तो दिस इज अबाउट
अरे इसको मालूम नहीं क्या चेकबुक
तो थैंक यू सो मच रौनक सर, बहुत अच्छा सेशन था एंड थोड़ा हमें टाइम कम मिला उसकी वजह से डेफिनेटली हम आगे पूरा फुल डे प्रोग्राम करेंगे जीएसटी के ऊपर जिसमें सारी चीजें होगी। सो थैंक यू सो मच फॉर बीइंग हियर एंड जो हमारा सबको बताया हमारा नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस आने वाला है 15 और 16